We're in the northern area of La Madre Mountain, just on Kyle Canyon Road here. And there's La Madre Mountain. We were here last week, and we're going to take another shot at this. We've got a pretty cloudy day. It is sunrise. Sunrise is beginning here. Sun coming right up over the mountains, and you can see the Mount Charleston Wilderness in this direction. What we're going to do is take Harris Springs Road. So from this parking area here, pretty nice little parking area, we're going to take a left on Kyle Canyon Road here and just jog over to Harris Springs Road, and then take a right and head up parallel to La Madre Mountain ridge there, and parallel to Kyle Canyon Road. We're going to go a little further than we did before. I think we turned left last week toward La Madre Mountain a little too soon and ended up at a dead end. I understand that if I take Harris Springs Road a little further and then take a left, it may lead me up to La Madre Mountain, or to approach to La Madre Mountain. We will find out. So here we go. Did a little cross-country angling through the desert and came down on this wash where I emerged at last week after an extra 45 minutes due to the route that I took. This is Harris Springs Road, and now I'm going to head up Harris Springs Road. I'll show you where I took a left turn too soon, and we'll go beyond that this time and see if we can angle around to La Madre Mountain, find an approach. So here we go. Well, there's an interesting guy there. Just had a talk with Steve. He's been here since 1962 or 63 and knows all about this area. So learned a lot about the area. I hear now that what I've been calling the permanent snowfield is actually called Devil's Slide. That's interesting. And what I call the Delta Canyon up here on Mummy is actually called the Fingers, and it used to be a ski area. So, and what I referred to as the ski tower at the top of, Upper North Loop Trail, that's actually a weather station. So it's interesting what you can learn from people who've been around here a lot of years. And I believe there's a Paradise Ranch. Steve has the Paradise Ranch here. Anyway, so here we are at this turnoff, and I took this last week, and I'd say, it leads to some, through an abandoned, or let's see, an unofficial gun range, and you can see in the last video, and then you go into the and that's in this area. You go up to the there's a rock quarry, and then there are some an entrance to the four-wheel drive road system at the base of La Madre Mountain, or the north side of the La Madre Mountain Wilderness. You can see the last video on this page, my La Madre Mountain North page. That will show that whole route that I took last week ends up at a drop-off about 6,000 feet. Elevation, there's a 1,000-foot drop-off. That's where I turned around last week. But I understand that I can go up this Harris Springs Road take the next left, and that will lead around a canyon system that blocked me last week and to a potential approach. So I'm going to continue on up Hare Springs Road, and let's try that out. Okay, here we go. This is a pretty cool road, Hare Springs Road. Very gradual, gentle uphill, but it's definitely an incline. The great thing about this is that on the way down this road, it's going to be downhill all the way. So it'll be a nice run back. There's La Madre Mountain and the Devil's Slide. Okay, and what else can I say at this point? Well, here's Harris Mountain up ahead, and then behind it, Griffith Peak. And that's pretty much in the center, both those mountains. And then, of course, Mount Charleston, Fletcher Peak, and Mummy Mountain. Another thing I learned from Steve is that there are a whole lot of mountain lions up here, but I don't expect to see any of them. I'll be lucky, actually, if I do see one, because they are very shy. And that's pretty much it for now. I am looking for the first left turn up this road. And when I hit that left turn, then what that's going to do is help me circle around. You see, I have headed parallel to La Madre Mountain. I've headed parallel to the mountain and that Keystone Thrust Ridge. So it's a wide circuit to get back to La Madre Mountain. But this route promises, if everything works right, it promises not to have any dead-end drop-offs, but I can find a ridge that will continue on up to La Madre Mountain without too much elevation gain. Elevation loss is what I'm hoping to avoid on my way up. So, and then this peak right in the center, I have stood on this, approached that from the Willow Springs parking area in Red Rock Park, went the backside of White Mountain and White Rock Mountain, I think is its official name, up the La Madre Mountain Springs area, past Miner's Cabin, up to the top of the Keystone Thrust, and then just took the Keystone Thrust, which is basically this whole ridge system of which La Madre Mountain is a part. And I took that to about this area, this white peak, and then ran out of steam. It was 6 hours. So that's why I'm trying this route. So far, it's been 1 hour. This may also be a long experience, which means La Madre Mountain is just in the middle of nowhere, and except for four-wheel drive is unapproachable unless you are prepared to go on foot running for at least a 20-mile round trip, 25, 30 miles potentially by the time you're done. So anyway, let's see where we end up, and maybe we'll find a route that is a little shorter than the other routes I've tried from Red Rock Park and Calico Basin. Here we go. By the way, from this perspective on Hare Springs Road, Gas Peak is coming into view. There's Gas Peak. And as you look to the left of Gas Peak, you can actually see Fossil Ridge, where we were a few weeks ago. And then continuing on, here's the Sheep Range. All of this coming into view from this perspective. And the reason I'm showing you this now is because it looks like all these will disappear as I circle around and go down a bit, and then hopefully I'm going to turn left soon toward La Madre Mountain. The reason I don't head straight toward La Madre Mountain is there is a huge ridge between where we're standing and La Madre Mountain that would involve a lot of climbing up and then a pretty substantial drop off of 500 to 1,000 feet and then ascent again. I want to avoid that. So I think that may be worth the extra miles in sticking to this road and circling around. We shall see today. Okay, there was one of these little roads that branch off to the left just a little bit ago, and here's a second one. And the reason that this is a bit interesting, this is not necessarily the one I was looking for, but I can see now that what I want to do is go around the edge. You can see in the center there, there are a couple ridges and there's a canyon between. I believe that my goal is to go up that canyon and then circle around behind this ridge system in the foreground on the left, and then head up toward La Madre Mountain. But I may want to go just a little further on the Harris Springs Road to see if there is another route up ahead that's going to have a better road and a more direct shot to the right edge of that ridge system on the left in the foreground here. So let's go a little further along Harris Springs Road just to see if there isn't another road that's going to lead me up through that canyon that will be a more direct route. So if not, then I can always take this road. That'll be another exploration. We just want to find the most direct route around those ridges that run parallel to the La Madre Mountain Ridge system. So we don't have to ascend and then descend. So let's go down here, Harris Springs Road, explore a little further. Here we go. Here's the split off I was looking for. And I'm going to take the left divide off of Harris Springs Road. And wow, I have done a huge circle around the La Madre Mountain area. Here's La Madre Mountain now in this direction from me. So I've actually done a big circuit. And it may be that there's an approach to this spot from the upper Harris Springs Road parking area off of Kyle Canyon Road. I am not sure. Again, this may be the best approach to this spot. And if I were heading for Harris Mountain, I would definitely be going in the right direction. You can see Harris Mountain, and to the left, Griffith Peak behind Harris Mountain. But we're not going there today. This is an alternate route to Harris Mountain, I guess. Anyway, heading up this left fork, hopefully circle around these ridges and then head back toward La Madre Mountain. And the other potential route would involve taking a left earlier than this on one of those two little four-wheel drive roads that I just passed. And that could cut off a lot of distance as long as it doesn't lead to a dead end. But this I'm going to take today just to circle around the perimeter of this big circuit and see what all the possibilities are before heading up another four-wheel drive road and risking ending up at a drop-off that a dead end. So here we go, up this road right here. Well, I believe I overshot my goal here. I must be on Paradise Ranch Road, I think it's called, and definitely way overshot. And this is not the way up. I need to go back to those two four-wheel drive roads that I passed a little earlier and head toward La Madre Mountain. At least I know that now. So anyway, we're going to turn around and we're going to go down to the two four-wheel drive roads, take those up and toward La Madre Mountain and see if that skirts around where I want to be. So again, we're at the end of this route. So we learned something. Okay, down we go. Get the split off. Now I think I know where I am. I'm this direction to the right leads continues on Harris Springs Road, and there would be a route to the top of Harris Mountain, and from there you could go up to Griffith Peak. So that would be a nice little experience. And then this left branch goes, I think it's Paradise Ranch Road, and it goes to private property. So there's no exploration up this road really, which leaves us going back down Harris Springs Road to those two four-wheel drive roads that we passed and seeing if that could lead to a canyon approach to La Madre Mountain. Here we go. Now we can definitely say that if you're coming up Harris Springs Road and you reach this gate where the road then descends a bit and you can see Harris Mountain in the background and Mount Charleston. If you reach this point, you have gone too far. The roads that we're looking for, the little four-wheel drive roads, are not as far as that gate. They're up a little ways. So let's go find them. Here we are. This is actually the second four-wheel drive cutoff road. And when you're coming up Harris Springs Road, it's a left toward La Madre Mountain. And there's another one before this that I believe goes to the same spot. I think these guys both meet at a certain point and then go up the canyon. So we're going to take this a little bit. I burned up an extra 3 to 4 miles continuing on Harris Springs Road to where I ended a while ago. And so I don't know how much more energy that I have to do a long range exploration, but I do know that I can get to this point in about an hour from where I parked today, and as opposed to where I am now, I'm sure that I've been going 2.5 hours. So when I reach this point, next trip in an hour and turn up this four-wheel drive road, I will have enough energy to see if we can get all the way up to La Madre Mountain from this area. But for now, I'm going to go up this road just a little ways, see where it leads. Here we go. I'm liking this little four-wheel drive road. It is circling around some very imposing ridges and potentially leading us to a northern approach for La Madre Mountain. It would take me about an hour and a half to get to this point, and if all goes well, another couple hours, 3 hours to get to the top of La Madre Mountain, provided that we don't reach a drop-off up there. I won't do that today, but next time I will do that. In the meantime, though, we're going to go up this road a little further, see if indeed it does lead to a ridge that's going to take us up La Madre Mountain. And there's La Madre Mountain with the Devil's Slide. Love that name. Okay, here we go. I'm continuing to like this little four-wheel drive road. It is a steady incline. There hasn't been any descent and ascent to really note. And now we're getting into a beautiful juniper and pine forest along the way. Looks like there's some camping areas. This is looking back down the road, and you can see up above us the Mount Charleston Wilderness. So we're going to continue on up this road. It looks like it's circling around large ridges like the one straight ahead. It's circumventing them and continuing to head toward La Madre Mountain. Show you a view of that when it comes into view in just a little bit. Okay, there it is, La Madre Mountain, straight ahead. Yeah, I believe I could get here and to this point in about 2.5 hours from where I parked, and potentially up to the top in another 2.5 hours. So this is looking very doable. And then back to my point of origin in another 3 hours. So we're looking at an 8-hour round trip. Definitely doable. Okay. And then you can see the Keystone Thrust. And we've been up one of these points up here, either up here or here, and looking at La Madre Mountain from that perspective. So this is the first time we've reached this perspective from the north side of La Madre Mountain, deep in the La Madre Mountain wilderness. And I believe that Steve said this is Cougar Canyon. So haven't seen any cougars. I hear they're very shy. So we're going to just hope that is true. And as we continue up toward La Madre Mountain, a real win today would be at least reaching a point where it looks like there's a trailhead to the summit. If we get that, then I can return and make a much quicker approach to La Madre Mountain and get to the summit. But for right now, we're going to see how close we can get and perhaps find a trailhead. Here we go. Well, if I had any doubt where I am, this just solved that question. And looks like we are entering the La Madre Mountains wilderness area. I thought I was deep in the area, but actually the difference between where I've been and crossing this line here is not really great as far as just the land and the view and the topography here. But you can see La Madre Mountain right behind the sign. And you see the Devil's Slide up there in the center. There it is. that white streak. Some of my other videos, I call it the permanent snowfield. Other people call it the La Madre Mountain Scar. But actually, Devil's Slide looks like the real name of that feature. Okay, so continuing on up. Well, La Madre Mountains Wilderness is a very rugged and beautiful wilderness area. 4 times the size of Red Rock Park. And to imagine that right over that ridge, the Keystone Thrust, is are 2 barren canyons, the Calico Basin and Red Rock Canyon, and totally desert. And just imagine on this side of that ridge, you see those cliffs. If you're in Red Rock Park or Calico Basin, you're looking at cliffs, a whole cliff face called the Keystone Thrust. On the other side of this ridge, drops off suddenly, straight cliff for a couple thousand feet, 3,000 feet potentially, and right over that cliff is this huge, beautiful forested wilderness area, 4 times the size of Red Rock Park, La Madre Mountains Wilderness. Beautiful area, and this little 4-wheel drive road is doing us very well. It's been a gradual ascent so far. Here we are getting a new perspective of the Mount Charleston Wilderness, and you see right in the center here, right in the center, there's Griffith Peak, and just to the right of it, Harris Mountain, and then the tip of Charleston Peak right over there in the center now. And then, oh yeah, you can also see Lee Peak. There it is. And then moving around, you can see Fletcher Peak right in the center here. And right behind Fletcher Peak is Mummy Mountain. So there's all the peaks in the Mount Charleston Wilderness area. Beautiful new perspective to be able to see them like this from what I think is Cougar Canyon. And then looking down in this direction, straight down, you can see Kyle Canyon and Kyle Canyon Road winding through, if you look really closely. There's the Mount Charleston Observatory. And as I've said in other videos, it always helps to know all these landmarks, because if I ever get lost, I just go to a high point and look for the landmarks, and then I know where I am and how to get back to where I started. So, continuing on up toward La Madre Mountain, and as I mentioned, today's goal would be just to get to a point where there's a trailhead or some clear approach to the top of La Madre Mountain. I'll return and take a lot less time to get to this point, because I'll know where I'm going. I took about a 4-mile detour today, as you can see earlier in this video. I could use those extra 4 miles right now, because I think that I'm only 3 or 4 miles from the summit of La Madre Mountain, from where I stand right now. Okay, so continuing on up this marvelous little 4-wheel drive road. I went around the next corner after that last video, and what do you know? Hit the end of this 4-wheel drive road. So now is the time to ask, what is beyond? And it looks like, let's see, if there were a trail, I think it would be going this way, because this looks like something that's continuing on. So let's just take this a little while and see where it leads. Okay, actually, it's the continuation of the four-wheel drive road. That was just a little camping area I was in a moment ago. Little cul-de-sac. So we're continuing on up. Okay, continuing on up, but notice how the bare exposed rock is starting to make its appearance, which means that we are getting to the foothills of that La Madre Mountains cliff system. There's a little snow around us. I wish I'd brought my altimeter watch today. I'm going to estimate that we're around 6,000, maybe a little above 6,000 feet, which would put us about the height of Turtlehead Peak in Red Rock Park area. We've got a couple more thousand feet to ascend, between 1,500 and 2,000 feet to get to the top of La Madre Mountain. But continuing on, let's see what we can find here, and let's see where this road actually ends. I'm guessing that that camping cul-de-sac that we passed just a moment ago might actually be a place where people camp before they ascend La Madre Mountain on their second day. So who knows? It looks like that would be a logical thing to do, and why that cul-de-sac would be there, which means that we should be getting close to the end of this road and an approach trail to the summit of La Madre Mountain, if that's true. Otherwise, you know, who knows? Maybe I'm way off. We'll find out. Interesting. I've reached a place where the road divides, and I see there's a route going off to the right and a route going off to the left. I'm going to take the left route because that looks like it's going toward La Madre Mountain, which is right up there. However, I may come back and try the right route if the left route doesn't help. And the reason being that, you know, maybe the right route leads to a ridge that circles around and naturally ascends up toward La Madre Mountain. We don't know, but we're going to find out. Here we go. The left route very quickly led to a turnaround and an end to this part of the road. So I'm going to go back and take the right fork and see if it does the same thing. Now there is another option. Up from this area, when I return, if I don't see something that is showing to be a better route, I could actually cross over to this ridge and take this ridge up. There's La Madre Mountain. I don't know though if it cliffs out or there's a huge plunge, because these mountains up here, a lot of up and down. They're not just a gradual rise. So that is one option. I don't see anything that looks like a trail on that ridge, but you know, who knows? We'll try that at some point. In the meantime, I'm going to go back and take that right fork that I was at just a moment ago and see if that does a little better. Okay, here we go. The right fork of that road also ended in a loop, but guess what? At the end of that loop, it looks like there's a little trail, which is good news. And it looks like from the topography of the land here that this little trail, it's going to descend. We need to go to the right side, the base of this ridge in the foreground, And it looks like this trail is doing just that. And once we go around the right side of that ridge, then we head right up La Madre Mountain. And I think this trail is the one that's going to do that for us. So I'm going to end for today, but return in a week or so and get to this point probably in half the time it took me today, because I'll know where I'm going and I won't make any wrong turns, which will give me the extra time that I need to potentially get up to the top of La Madre Mountain from here. And I'm still predicting that we're looking at a 5-mile or a 5-hour, not 5 miles, 5-hour trip from where I parked my car on Kyle Canyon Road. 5-hour trip to get to the top of La Madre Mountain, provided this trail does the job for us. And then I bet I can get back down in about 3 hours. So we're looking at an 8-hour round trip. That's just my rough estimate. I have, there's some land ahead of me that I have not yet traversed. And so I don't know for sure, but that would be really nice if I could do the round trip in 8 hours. And then looking to the right of La Madre Mountain, you see that little dip. It goes down and then there's an ascent again. I believe that point is the very point where that cliff, the south cliff of La Madre Mountain that we've climbed before and stopped about 500 feet shy of the summit of La Madre Mountain from that end. I believe that if I were able to continue up the south side, would lead us up to the top of La Madre Mountain from that direction, from the Red Rock Canyon area. And also, there's a chance that I could ascend La Madre Mountain from this side and then descend down that cliff area and end up in Red Rock Park and at the sandstone quarry parking lot. It would be quite a trip from Kyle Canyon Road to the sandstone quarry parking lot, but it'd be a great adventure. Need another car to pick me up, definitely. But what a possibility. Anyway, we may do that if we're successful in everything we're attempting this winter. Okay, so turning around, heading back, but we'll return to this point where this little trail is. Very good news. And we'll see if this leads us up to the summit of La Madre Mountain. Okay, signing off. By the way, turning around, awesome view of the Sheep Range. Front and center. There it is. Another reason to come back and do this is that I'd love to do this on a day that's more clear, blue sky, better pictures and videos. And so hopefully we'll see a much nicer view of the whole area. Okay, onward. Oh, by the way, one more thing I needed to say. Let's talk timing here. It is now, let's see, 11:55. About 4.5 hours from when I started. However, you can take away about a half hour from talking with Steve and another 45 minutes at least in making that little detour that I made down on Hare Springs Road. So that's 1 hour and 15 minutes minus 4 hours and 15 minutes. So Oh, not too bad. Around 3 hours to get to this point. If had I gone in a straight line, and by the way, I'm probably around 6,500 feet, which is higher than the summit of Turtle Head Peak, which is 6,200. But I don't have my altimeter watch, so I don't know for sure. Anyway, so let's say 3 hours to get up here. Now what I want to do is time the trip back, because that's going to be important when we're looking at the round trip. So I'm going to run it back, and I'm thinking no more than 2 hours to return to my point of origin. Had I started at the top of La Madre Mountain up there, it would be at least, probably about an hour to get to this point. So that does fit the 3 hour return trip. And had I been at the 3 hour point on the way up, I'd say another hour and a half, 4.5 hours would have taken me to the top of La Madre Mountain, maybe 5 hours. So I think my timing estimate is about right. 5 hours up, 3 hours back. We'll see. If I can get back in 2 hours from this point, then the 3 hour return trip is a possibility. So here we go. Quick thing, I've just got to say, I am so loving this place. It is so wild and untouched. There's La Madre Mountain. Here's the backside of the Keystone Thrust. And circling around, we see the Mount Charleston Wilderness. And looking in this direction, the Sheep Range. And then just miles and miles of this forested wilderness area. Very beautiful forest. It's pine and juniper, and the trees aren't that high, so you get the experience of being in a forest, but you can also look around and see everything around you. And it's just so wild and untouched up here. There's a peacefulness, there's just a feeling of the spirit of the wilderness. So I just wanted to say, this La Madre Mountains wilderness is totally amazing. I'm looking forward to exploring more of this area during this winter. There are a number of ways we could ascend to the top of the Keystone Thrust, but I'm going to take that little trail. That's going to be my first route. See if I can take that up to the top of La Madre Mountain up there in the center. Well, here we are, and now we're headed back. We'll see. I may see something else I want to talk about. Well, I gave myself an hour to get from the top of this four-wheel drive road and that trail at the end of it to Harris Springs Road. Actually made it in a little less than 45 minutes. So we'll see what the second leg, which takes me to my car, will take. I gave myself 2 hours to descend the whole way, and so far I'm 15 minutes ahead. Okay, here we go. Back at the beast, and we came from just about 2 or 3 miles, about 2 miles below the summit of La Madre Mountain in 1 hour and 20 minutes. So that's pretty awesome. That means that the round trip, if I had started at the top of La Madre Mountain, it probably would have taken me about 2 hours and 15 to 20 minutes to get back from the summit. And what that means is that the round trip is now down to 7 hours and 15 minutes, depending on what time I can make going up to La Madre Mountain on this route that we discovered today. So that's pretty much where we're at. We've discovered the best route to the north side of and summit of La Madre Mountain, and we'll just see how that last 2 to 3 miles along that little trail up at the top, how that goes. That's the unknown part. But everything from the bottom of that little trail all the way down here, an hour and 20 minutes, not bad. Okay, signing off for the day.